In today's video, I give you guys a head start on your first lessons. Hey everybody out there in YouTube land, I hope you guys are all doing well and you're safe and healthy in these crazy times. Like I said at the top of the video, I'm going to try to give you a head start on your guitar lessons. This is going to be a two-part, I guess you'd call it a series, and in this first part we're going to take a look at parts of the guitar and the names of the strings. In our next part of this video, or our second video, we're going to tune the guitar, we're going to talk about first exercises, get our fingers moving, get some basic coordination, and talk about a few other things. So if you don't want to miss the second part, please subscribe and hit the bell. Okay, so why do we want to take a look at all these things and get this kind of little head start on our guitar lessons? And notice that I'm saying a head start, not a replacement for guitar lessons. Online lessons are not a replacement for in-person lessons. Now, there is no problem with learning online as long as you have at least, I would recommend at least a once a month in-person checkup with a guitar teacher to make sure you're not getting into any bad habits. It's far worse to learn something wrong than to not learn it at all. So we're going to take a look at the parts of the guitar and some terms and techniques. It's just going to give you a head start. When your guitar instructor says, maybe you should try this passage with your pickup selector in the neck position, you want to know what he means. You don't want to have to interrupt the lesson and say, I'm not sure what you mean, could you explain it to me? Now, if you're not sure what your instructor means, please interrupt them, because it's very important that you understand every step of the process. Guitar is taught in order. Well, by good teachers, it's taught in a certain order for a reason, and it's important that you grasp each step completely. Don't be afraid to ask questions. But guitar lessons are expensive, and we usually only get a half an hour. If we're very lucky, we get an hour a week, which is still not a lot of time. So we want to make the most of our time, and it costs money. We want to make the most of our money. So, let's take a look at the parts of the guitar and the names of the strings, and in the next video I'll get back to you with some terms, some techniques, and some exercises. Okay, starting at the end of our neck is our headstock. It makes sense, right? At the end of our neck would be our headstock, okay? Now on our headstock is the points where one end of our strings is anchored, and it's the end where we tune them. These are called our tuning machines, or tuners. If you're a super beginner, one thing to note, tuners work, because of the way you wind a string on a tuner, it works in the opposite way of just about everything else on earth. Okay, so it's lefty-tighty. So, after our tuners and our headstock, we're working our way down towards our neck, and we see this small passageway right here. It's like a little tunnel, right? And it's like a little tunnel because if we look inside of there, there's the head of a bolt. And that's our adjustment for our truss rod. You don't need to worry about that too much right now. Just know that that's where your truss rod adjustment is. If you're playing an acoustic guitar, your truss rod adjustment is probably inside of the body of your guitar on the butt of the neck. Right here, underneath that small tunnel where our truss rod adjustment is this white piece called the nut. Now the nut's purpose is to guide the strings, to keep them straight and true all the way down the fretboard, and to keep them off of the fretboard and the frets the proper distance. Also, it's very important that the nut is cut correctly and that the strings break over the nut in a correct angle. Also, if your slots are too tight, you'll have tuning problems, often characterized by a pinging noise heard when tuning up and a jumping of your tuning. Okay, moving down our neck, this dark piece of wood that's attached to the front of our neck is called our fretboard. It's called our fretboard because it houses our frets. Our frets are these small metal bars, and we press down on our string at these frets to change the length of the string, therefore changing the pitch of the string. These white dots are fret markers, okay? Fretboard markers, fretboard inlays, all the same thing. They're basically there, in my humble opinion, the ones on the front of the neck are for you to look at. The ones on the top of the neck are for me to look at. In other words, I see this all the time, very bad habit. I see people leaning over their guitar to see the dots on the front of the neck. Well, they're right on the side also. So get rid of your achy shoulders and your bad habit, please, and just look at the side of your neck. Okay, moving down the neck, past all the frets, getting down towards the body now. The body is the colored portion, in this case black. Now this white plastic part that houses all these smaller components here is called the pick guard. It's called the pick guard for an obvious reason. It guards the paint on the body from the pick. In the pick guard we find our pickups. Our pickups are magnetic inductors which convert the motion of the string into electrical energy, which our amplifier converts into sound. On our other end of our strings, down here we have this metal piece called the bridge. Okay? The bridge, like I just said, it's our other anchor point for the strings. This particular guitar has a tremolo arm, so I can fluctuate the tension on the bridge, therefore the tension on the strings, therefore changing the pitch. Okay, I think we all know what that is. So right here we see on this particular guitar we have 3 controls for volume and tone. My first one is volume, controls the loudness. Second 2 are tone. On this particular guitar, my first tone is for these 2 pickups, and the bottom tone is for my bridge pickup. Different guitars have different layouts. This is our pickup selector. This is where we're going to select which pickup we want to choose or how we want to blend between them. Right here we have our output jack where we plug our cord to our amp. Hopefully that's a pretty obvious one. Back here we have kind of the workings for our tremolo. We're not going to get into that right now, but I do have a setup video coming. Actually 2 setup videos, one for electric and one for acoustic. We'll get into that in those videos. It's not important for you to know how to adjust your tremolo in your first few lessons. And just for general information, This is your neck plate. So that's going to take care of all of the basic parts of the guitar that you're going to need to know to be comfortable and get through your first few lessons. Now I'm going to just quickly teach you the names of each string and give you a mnemonic device so that you'll never forget. Okay, starting from the ceiling, working towards the floor, our string names are E, A, D, G, B, E. And I promise you a mnemonic device so that you would never forget, and everybody knows this one. EDDY ate dynamite. Goodbye, Eddie. Easy, right? Never forget it. So hopefully this gives you a head start, makes you a little bit more comfortable walking into your first lessons, knowing you can follow some basic instruction. If your instructor asks you to maybe put your selector in a different position or move your hand 1 fret towards the nut or towards the headstock, you'll know what he means. You won't have to stop him to explain. And this is the simple goal of this video. That's why I slaved away in this hot studio. I'm going to end this video so I can turn my AC back on. Thank you guys and keep rocking.